What's up everyone? I hope you are all having a great time during this holiday season, and welcome to my quick follow-up thoughts on the HorizonXI private server. I say follow-up thoughts here because this is in no way, shape, or form an official review, but merely a simple overview of my own personal experience so far on the server, detailing what I like, what I don't like as much, and overall how I've enjoyed my time playing HorizonXI. Another thing to note, I am by no means one of the highest levels on the server, nor am I speedrunning a class to level 75. I much prefer to take my time while playing an MMO and mix everything the game has to offer between crafting, fishing, leveling, soloing, partying, making some gil, etc. Also, because I was not a huge fan of my original face that I picked on the website prior to launch, I decided to start back from scratch when I could finally delete my main after the cooldown period of 7 days had expired. All of this considered, I still wanted to make sure I had enough time and experience under my belt to give kind of my thoughts on all HorizonXI has to offer. Without any further ado, let's jump right into the video. Let's start by talking about the launch itself of the server on release date, December 17th. Apart from a few server resets to correct immediate issues, it was honestly pretty smooth. Not perfect, but honestly better than a lot of AAA games that are coming out nowadays. The installer was very straightforward and the launcher itself is honestly really great. I love the fact that it comes with the HD texture pack preloaded, as I always found that to be a real pain in the butt to do, especially for someone with very limited computer knowledge like myself. One thing I did not love about the launch day is the 7-day lockout on deleting your character. A lot of players opted to try the new color palettes offered like myself, but I ended up not loving how the colors looked, especially while wearing a hat. Sadly, I then realized I was kinda stuck with that face unless I wanted to wait 7 days to start over, which was honestly kind of a bummer. Now, to be fair to the devs, I understand why this would be necessary, as I'm sure having hundreds of people remaking their character would prove to create a lot of stress on the server, and all of this was announced on their Discord prior to the server going live, so this was more of a personal annoyance. According to the shouts and world messages though, it looks like I was not the only one in this situation, and some people were asking on the Discord about if a face change would be offered, with no real clear response that I could find. I think offering a one-time change to players would have been a nice way to please the community, but I'm not sure how complicated this would be on a programming point of view, and again, this is really more of a personal mistake as I haven't been keeping up with the notes on the Discord. I also had some frame rate issues at first, until I realized all I had to do was make sure the frame rate add-on was turned on and fix the FPS with the /FPS1 prompt. Ever since, the game has been running very smooth with minimal issues, unless in a zone with a big community event like the holiday trends. Speaking of the community, man is this server off to a great start on that end. The server has been consistently between 2,000 to 4,500 players at any given time. That is completely insane compared to any other private servers I've ever played on. Wings, during its prime, had maybe 800 to 700 players on at a time, so you can really see that the devs here did an amazing job to promoting their server, and while I'm seeing a lot of familiar names from my previous life on Wings, I'm also meeting a ton of new cool people every single day while playing. The server just feels very alive. You walk into cities or zones and there are literally people everywhere just crafting, fishing, or whatever this is. And everything just feels great. It's a feeling not experienced in a long time on this game, as it's honestly very, very fun to explore the game with such a booming community. Speaking of exploring, the devs again did a really good job, as I've been trying to figure out new camps and party setups that I had never done, giving a breath of fresh air and a sense of discovery while playing this 20-plus-year-old game. Even the custom music they did is quite enjoyable and are really good remixes of the originals, apart from the battle music, which I'm not really a fan of. It just takes too long to build up and sounds really awkward when you're doing quick fights in succession. I have yet to listen to a lot of them as I have not explored even half of the zones yet, but I am excited to give them a listen, and I have found myself playing with the game music on, something I had not done in a long time. The population also seems to have a very solid distribution between the three main nations, with Sandy maybe being a little over the other two, but only by maybe 100 to 200 players at a given time. As for the job adjustments, so far I don't see a lot of players with complaints, to be honest. From the looks of it, Magic Burst has been buffed, so playing Black Mage was actually really fun. Our group had this complicated 3-step skill chain ending in fire, and it was a blast to pull it off and required a lot more paying attention and working together than say just using weapon skills on cooldown. The bonus damage made it totally worth the effort as we blasted IT mobs right in one fell swoop with our combo. I've seen some comments about Thief Me being a little overbuffed with triple attack being level 30 here, which is honestly pretty wild. This might even open Thief as a great support job later on, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. I have played some White Mage, some Black Mage, some Warrior, some Thief, and everything played really well. I will have to do a later video once I have experience on more jobs and more data, but so far the changes seem to be mostly positives. Now, not everything is rainbows and sunshines though. While yes, the server runs overall really well, there's still a very long list of bugs reported on the Discord. From mug houses breaking, or experience points not being calculated properly, to quests not functioning properly. These can vary a lot, and the most important ones seem to be patched quite quickly, which is a true testament to the work behind a server of this magnitude. The issue for the player base though is the server has been going down quite often, sometimes for a quick fix, sometimes for a few hours to fix those issues. While again I understand why this needs to happen, it can be a little frustrating when you have plans to play a game on a specific night. Maybe you're working during the week and this is like your one day off that you have time to play, only to find out that the server is going down for a maintenance for an undisclosed amount of time. Again though, as time goes on, I'm sure this issue will be resolved and will be compressed probably in something like a weekly maintenance as seen on other private servers. But for now, this is something you have to consider when you want to jump in the server. Lastly, I kind of want to talk briefly on the early economy of the server. If I could sum it up in one word, it would be wild. It's honestly very interesting to see everybody scrambling for gil. Every item was being sold for super cheap on the auction house as literally no one had gil, and people were just trying to make anything with their freshly acquired drops. Stuff like mote carbs sold for like 150 gil a stack, which is just bananas. Not even 2 weeks later, the price is now a little over 1.2k a stack, climbing daily. Because of this, a few players that have invested their gil into mote carps already have a Liu Shang's rod, which requires 10,000 carps. That is just insane to me, as I worked for weeks on mine on wings, and I'm like 70% of the way done on it. The market is quickly stabilizing, but we're still seeing some wild stuff like a Alcyon rod selling for like 80k. A lot of players rush to get higher level to camp NMs, and I've heard of stuff like Leaping Lizzie having over 30 to 40 players at a time in zone. That is really intense, and honestly is a little too crazy for me. As time goes on though, this will stabilize as more players will have crafts leveled, and more rare drops will start circulating within the community, offering more price competition and overall a healthier economy. Well, that's it for my quick overview on my time so far on HorizonXI. Overall, I'll be honest, I've been having a ton of fun, and I look forward to making content for this fresh take on Final Fantasy XI Classic. I do plan to make some guides just like I did for Wings on fishing, maybe some crafts, some notorious monsters, and more. Because the coding information though on this server is private, which was public on Wings for example, some of these might take a little while as I work my way through the game to then share my findings with you all. Since a lot of the information is custom though, I will leave a link to my Discord in the description of the video so we can maybe share ideas and information as a community. The wiki is also a good source of information as players have been updating their findings on there as well. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing to the channel for more content coming soon, and I will see you all in game. Thank you very much for watching and have a wonderful new year. Take care.